now going to go over greasing the combine in preparations for heading to the field. I've greased the rear end. You got zerks here and down here on your kingpins. In the middle where it pivots, and one back there, it's hard to see. There's a little square thing where the shaft pivots, and that's on each side of the combine. I'm going to talk about the back half. Right in here on this ring, the little needle bearing, if you remember back in the videos, we had to replace this whole safety clutch in here. There's a zerk for that needle bearing. That has now been greased. Chopper has sealed bearings. The pulleys all have sealed bearings. And then right back here on the Strauss walker's arm, there is a bearing there, and that has now been greased. We are going to proceed up the right side of the combine as you're sitting in the cab, and we're going to grease this one on the fan. Speed adjustment bearing, this moves up and down to change your belt ratio. We're going to grease the spring can and the shaft here and here, and then there is one behind this pulley on the nut adjustment. And then proceeding further up, we got to oil these chains. This combine has grease zerks on the helper springs. I have not seen this before. It must be on a later model. And that'll be the right side of the combine. You must also be aware that there is a grease zerk on the back side of your fan adjustment pulley. I don't know if you can see it. Right there. Okay, we have proceeded to the left side of the combine as setting in the cab, setting in the seat, left side. Done the lower part. You got your variator. You may have to turn your key to get to this zerk here, and there is not one on the back side. Down here is a zerk behind for the clutch right here, and one right here on the front of the clutch. There's a bearing in there. Now we're going to proceed up into the compartment by the motor. There's 2 or 3 you have to get in here. The grease zerk back here behind the variator cylinder right there on the adjustment of the front of the concave that you adjust with the lever in the cab. One on each side. I did forget the other one. Underneath the cab we have one grease zerk here, one back here on the motor, important on your power input shaft bearing. Everything else is sealed bearings. Nothing behind the beater, nothing on the idler engager pulley. I don't know if I notated this in the documentary or not. 300s are kind of bad about doing this. These things sit in here and chatter all day long. These holes get wore out. These were very elongated, and we took them apart, welded them back up, and put meat on them to take the play out of the unloading auger turning off and on lever, engagement lever there. So something you might want to do before you have any problems of them being completely wore out and have to buy new parts. The last thing to grease is the corn head under the snouts. Very important. Make sure your head safety locker is down and pinned. Some of the old ones don't have pins, older combines. Make sure your head locker is in the safe position so you don't get killed doing this. And the grease zerks you will find, there is one for each of the snapping rolls. Get you an old piece of carpet so you can lay out in the field and not get all wet, muddy, lay on concrete, what have you. Right under here, on each one, here and here and here, and then up on top is a zerk in this sprocket right here, one on each set. So there would be a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 on a 3-row. And that's all that the book says needs to be greased. We also, when we had it all apart, we adjusted our vine knives right here so that they just barely clear the snapping flute right there. And here it is again. You got to bring those in. And these are your grass shields to keep grass from wrapping around this. We found this line here to have been rubbing against the engine block, but it's leaking here at these old fittings. So we're going to change it. It goes to the steering. Just going to change it right quick and run uptown and get one built, because it's just easy to do. It's clean and cheap maintenance, and it'll keep your machine clean instead of getting all oily and greasy. Another thing we like to do is anticipate problems and prevent them. These metal lines fit so tight through here to the hydraulic console connection. We wrapped them in rubber and zip tied so that they don't vibrate through. Just a little extra preventative maintenance. Okay, one of the final checks that we did. We're ready to go to the field now if the corn is dry enough. A couple of weeks ago it was 23.7 moisture. But one of the final checks is this rear beater. Get you a digital RPM gauge. You can get them off of eBay for $19.95. And we have got two of them so we can compare them against one another. They're pretty accurate. We found the rear beater turning 840 RPMs. Now the problem with that is it's supposed to be turning 710. And the only way to adjust that is from the injection pump, or on a gasoline motor from the governor. That is turning way too fast. We've got it 709 to 710 right now. It's fluctuating right between there. A lot of the vibration went out of this combine after that because we got everything turning the correct speed. You can see we got it oily from oiling our chains. That's going to happen. And but even though we want to keep a clean machine, we don't want hydraulic oil running down it. But now a lot of the vibration has went out of the machine. And by doing that, we have been able to tell now, a farmer probably turned it up wanting more power. We have been able to tell why we had some breakage problems, because everything was turning way too fast. We had a few sheet metal breakage, and we're not going to be running this because we got to change the mount that spins this. We're hoping we can not run this. It's supposed to spin pretty fast, but it's real out of balance because this shaft is not straight because they broke the mount in there and it's welded crooked. So we're going to take a good one out of a junker we have at a later date. It's already cool out here, and the corn shouldn't be too dusty. We'll have to watch our temperature, but the centrifugal force of that spinning keeps it clean air going into the radiator. So we're going to try to harvest corn without running that this year. And then we will change that out. If that don't work, we'll have to come and change it out. Here's the injection pump. We found this screw. You can see where it's shiny. And I don't know who did it or if it was set like that originally, but it's going to give an early death to a good combine. So we adjusted this. It allows us to open up. This is the one for the idle. This is the one for the maximum RPM. By turning that, we brought down the RPM of our rear beater. A simple adjustment. The book says have your MF dealer do it, but they ain't going to run out for a 30-year-old combine. We did consult with a Massey dealer mechanic. A very good man that helps us out, gives us a lot of advice. Everything is working good, getting shined up. We kind of was ignoring this problem. The alternator is not charging. I went and got a new alternator in case they're closed on Saturday. But there's a field wire that I had forgot about. That's got to have power when the ignition is on. And that does not have power. So really it might be a voltage regulator, which we're going to try to fix here this evening. And the reason we came in, the weather's going to be nice tomorrow, and there's no need of rushing, and we want to fix the little problems. Everything's been running good. There isn't really any little problems. This has been working good. It gets a little bit of dirt, or it gets a little bit of chaff on it. Every once in a while we cleaned it. We don't have this spinning. It'll just cut down on vibration because it's out of balance real bad. And we're going to fix that later. But we wanted to shell a little corn. And everything's working good. The belts are getting stretched in, getting everything dusty, white corn dust on everything. and chopper's working good, and it's just fun out running an old combine from 1977, and it's holding up, and I think we shelled about 300 bushel this afternoon and just had a good time doing it. Still got probably an acre and a half to go. Then we're going to help our cousin on our 40 acres just for the fun of it. We determined our charging problem was the voltage regulator. We had a burned off contact. Right here. Supposed to be another one of these on there. We went to Napa. We got one here. They're lighter. We got to mount it on that vibratory ISO mount. They're electronic in here. They're really light. They don't have these copper windings. And this is probably the original from 1977. All rusted on the bottom. And that red wire out of the back of the alternator has to be, you need a test light. It has to be lit. It has to activate the test light when the ignition is on, and that creates the field for the alternator to charge your battery. So we're going to fix that here and let you know how it goes. Okay, voltage regulator installed, field wire on the correct terminal over here. Everything's in. We're going to test it once we turn the ignition on with the test light. Here is the field wire out of the back of the alternator, and we will test it. And we have light on the test light.